welcome to Sammy C. Press. Today is a continuation on the previous video on metacognition and executive functioning. The first function we're going to bring out is organization. That is when ones can keep track of things physically and mentally. Ones have the ability to be able to put pictures in a sequential order. They can clean up at the end of an activity or the end of the day. They keep their room neat and tidy and return things to where they belong. It is useful to find our own unique organizational skill. That way, we're more likely to stick with it. There are three basic styles of organization. One is visual. That is where we prefer colors. And if it's out of sight, then it's out of mind. Next is spatial. That is where we like to keep supplies in reach, and we like cleaning up after we're done. The third is sequential. That's when we usually think in numbers and have a good memory for things like dates. We have a messy workplace, but we know what is in each pile, and we do not like when others clean up our area. At a young age, cleaning up toys can cause frustration, even meltdowns, since the child becomes so overwhelmed by their organizational weakness. We, as a family, did what was called a cleaning blitz. We would make a game of it and see how fast we can clean up. Each person was assigned a type of toy that they had to put away, and this worked wonders for our homes. We kept these in short bursts of 10 to 15 minutes. The next function we're going to move on to is planning and prioritizing. This is the ability to set and meet goals, identifying the order and sequence to complete a task or activity, creating a structure or order around frequently performed tasks, as well as an orderly plan to complete multiple tasks. Why is planning such an important skill? Well, having an established routine is very important. It helps to reduce stress. We are modeling and teaching our children how to live a balanced life by creating healthy habits and structure. This will produce a feeling of safety and security, as well as giving a sense of purpose. We in our family hung step-by-step instructions with pictures in the bathroom and the bedroom for what was to be done and in what order. The bedroom had a picture of a neatly made bed, a picture of a floor with nothing on it, etc. In the bathroom, we had a picture of brushing teeth, a picture of a child poking his head out of the shower, a picture of a clean floor with no clothes on it. We also have what is called a command center. There is a dry erase board in the kitchen with appointments and work schedules. There is also a cork board with a dry erase board attached to it so that tasks that need to be completed can be written down. We also have, now that they are older, a shared electronic calendar so that we can easily schedule appointments without any overlapping or double booking. The next function we're going to speak about is perseverance, also known as goal-directed persistence. That is when we can stick to a task without giving up, even when it becomes challenging. It includes the ability to use strategies to get through an activity in spite of any roadblocks that may come up along the way. It is also being able to try new strategies, continue working when the task is difficult, and even ask for help when needed. Perseverance combines with the executive functioning of task initiation and sustained attention to enable your child to start and complete long-term projects. Perseverance is what will help them to overcome difficulties, criticism, and setbacks in life, along with determination and resilience. They will achieve big things. Some ways we may see a weakness in perseverance is when they have trouble sticking with a task or activity, giving up quickly after starting activities, getting frustrated when difficulties arise. The first step you can take to foster perseverance in your child is to talk to them about the benefits of perseverance. We can mention ones like Thomas Edison. He has some amazing quotes about the importance of perseverance. 1. I have not failed. I just found 10,000 ways that wouldn't work. 2. Genius is 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. And 3. Many of life's failures are people who do not realize how close they were to success when they gave up. Or how about the example of the Wright brothers? Did you know it took the Wright brothers 4 years of research and development? They built and tested 3 full-size gliders before the powered airplane's flight. What if these men had simply given up when challenges arose? To encourage perseverance, we can pay attention to and celebrate the areas in which they excel. After a while, challenges won't seem so big. Start small. Easy goals that will build up confidence. Give not over-the-top praise, but sincere praise. We do not want to puff up with pride or arrogance, but we want to instill a healthy view of self. We have to model and teach how to plan ahead and help them to organize tasks from start to finish. Help them to use tools like to-do lists, adding more as we go along so that they do not get overwhelmed by the sheer list of things to do. As parents, we cannot swoop in and protect our children from every consequence. We have to allow them to make mistakes and to learn from them. We do not want to allow our children to do whatever they want, nor go to the other extreme and put our child in victim role. We do not want to be a rescuer or an enabler or use the learning difference as an excuse. We have to walk the fine line as we're guiding and supporting our children with learning differences. For example, let's say the student has a project that should have been started a week ago, but was not started until the night before. Well, we need to allow them to experience the consequences. Now, remember, if there is a metacognition weakness, then the mistake will continue to repeat without change. So what do we need to do? We need to strengthen metacognition and also allow the consequences to run their course. Never doubt your example. As your children watch you overcome difficulties and push through even though it's hard, you will make a lasting impression on them. These skills develop over time and at different rates in individual children. So encourage your child to start new things. Then be patient. Be patient as they stumble, as they struggle, and as they grow. Use the tactics you are learning to help them to overcome these weaknesses. Persistent students understand the value of hard work to improve their problem-solving skills, as well as taking responsibility for their own academic progress. They do not make excuses or blame others for their failure. It is important to note that academic success does not depend on intelligence alone. Perseverance, or goal-directed persistence, will lead to achievements in every area of your child's life. By helping your child develop perseverance through challenges, you are building a successful and responsible adult. The next function we are going to discuss is task initiation. That is the ability to start and finish a task without excessive procrastination. With weak task initiation, ones either don't know where to start the task or they can't find the motivation to take the first steps. Some may not even be aware of this, but procrastination stems from an emotional place, as opposed to poor time management or laziness. Researchers suggest that putting off unpleasant tasks is a coping mechanism for dealing with challenging emotions or moods. We all know and have experienced how procrastination only complicates matters. For ones with learning differences, having some accommodations in place can help. Example, having a number line in front of them or a chart of an alphabet. Later, having a multiplication chart posted. When a student has less to keep in their working memory, this will help ease some of the stress. That way, they will be more willing to start a difficult task. If the child is in school, be sure they have the support of an IEP, a teacher assistant, or a tutor. Be sure they are receiving accommodation. Accommodations are not handicaps. Instead, They help to remove barriers and help the child to learn. I mentioned a whiteboard. It could help to have a laminated copy or a sheet protector over the list so the child can check off steps as they go along. This list can have things like homework, cleaning your room, or chores. This will help your child in the family's routine. Remember how I asked you to think about the best environment for your child to learn. That ties in here too. Maybe your child is a nester and likes to snuggle up and be surrounded by pillows. Or maybe he's happy at a desk. Maybe having a cool pencil or pen, or a new notebook or folder. Anything to get excited about. These may seem like little things, but they can truly make a difference. Allow students to break up assignments, to take a bit of a brain break. Both must agree on the schedule. An example could be something like 20 minutes of studying, followed by a 5-minute break. Some may not struggle with sustained attention, so they do not have to break it up so much. But pay attention and make needed adjustments. It is key to know in what areas you as a parent have strengths as well as weaknesses. I'll use us as an example. My strengths are in organization, planning, prioritizing, task initiation, as well as goal-directed persistence. So I can help in these areas. It is also important to remember that in these areas where we have strengths, we can inadvertently expect others to share the same strengths and to think, this isn't so hard, why are you finding it so difficult? But that is the furthest thing from the truth. Remember how I mentioned there was no parenting or modeling and teaching for me growing up? Well, I have weaknesses in emotional control, flexibility, and inhibitory control. With work, these areas are so much better than they used to be, but they'll never be a strength for me. I have to use tips and tricks like the ones we mentioned. It helps when not everyone in the house has the same weakness. That way there could be a stabilizing effect as well as support in those weak areas. Sammy C number 2 models flexibility, while Sammy C number 3 inhibitory control. So as a team, we work together and we are aware of each other's weaknesses. We would not ask Sammy C number 2 to organize the studio, or Sammy C number 3 to set out our tasks for the week, nor would they expect me to change my schedule every day. Knowing each other's weaknesses and strengths helps us to have greater understanding as well as empathy. No one enjoys being belittled or berated. That is not going to help matters, nor will it turn a weakness into a strength. The next function we're going to speak about is attention. That is the ability to focus on certain stimuli in the environment while not focusing or tuning out other things. Something as simple as adequate rest, getting outside each day, taking brain breaks, limiting screen time, taking movement breaks, exercising, and a good diet can all help. Remember, food sensitivities and allergies can affect focus as well as dye and preservatives. Keeping a food diary to find possible triggers can also help. Omega-3 supplements can improve inattention and other symptoms in children with ADHD. Here at Sammy C Press, I have the doctor's handwriting, and Sammy C3 has the coat. But alas, we do not have the schooling or the cool letters at the end of our names, so first chat with your doctor. We here at our home used a reward system. For doing a good job on school that day, they would get a gold bar. Not a literal gold bar, it was actually a shiny piece of paper. But each gold bar was worth 30 minutes. They could earn 2 hours total of screen time in the week. Younger children had a bowl with paper in it, and they would pull out a piece of paper, and it would say something like, go for a bike ride together, or play a game with mom. Different things like that. Also, remove distractions. Do not allow phones or tablets or toys next to them or even in sight. Something that many do not realize or even think about is that ones with learning differences and or ADHD can be easily overstimulated or even understimulated. Ask your child and observe. Does your child do better with natural light or low lamp light? Does your child do better with quiet or do they do better with music? Do they do better at the table or lying on the floor? Do they like to have a blanket or do they prefer a cooler area? Do they like to have water or a snack nearby? All these things can make a difference. Think about yourself and what works for you. These are important tips to help our child to have sustained attention. The next function we're going to talk about is that of working memory. It is the ability to keep key information in mind while using it. Have you ever had something to say but forgot what it was? Or you forgot the next step that you had to do to carry out a task? Working memory will help us to keep these things in mind so that we don't, on a regular basis, forget. I have a little whiteboard, and I write out tasks that need to be completed. You can also use a family planner. If you try to give someone with a weakness in working memory more than 1 or 2 things to do, they're not going to be completed. Do not make a big list on the board, because this would be very overwhelming and could cause a meltdown or even a shutdown. Think bite-sized pieces. I cannot tell you how many times I have heard, "You didn't tell me that part." As we grow, we learn the steps that are involved in carrying out certain tasks. We do not automatically know all these steps, so we do not want to assume our child will. But sometimes we forget that about ourselves, that we had to grow and learn along the way. Ones with weaknesses in working memory need each step. For example, have you ever thought about how many steps are involved in washing clothes? 1. Put clothes in the washer. 2. Put soap in. 3. Shut lid. 4. Start washer. 5. Put clothes in dryer. 6. Start dryer. That is 6 steps. I cannot tell you how many times I have found clothes in the washer but not started, or clothes in the dryer but not started. I learned the hard way that step-by-step instructions are needed. Sometimes even things they fully know and have done many times can slip. Here's an example. Last night, Sammy C, 3, and I were playing solitaire. We have done this many times. We have 2 decks of cards and we match up the decks so that the order is the same. We started this when Sammy C3 said he had a better way of playing solitaire than me. So, as we're playing, I heard him saying to himself, "Go from king down, and then ace up." He was having a hard time holding the steps in mind. I looked over after some time and noticed that all his reds were on top of each other, and all his blacks were on top of each other. He had completely forgot to stagger them. This is not a lack of intelligence. He had spent the entire day learning how to code a GPU with metal. That is a computer thing that is way far above me. So remember, be patient.